Good morning, Colorado. Welcome to Local Biz Buzz. I'm your host, Larry Hers. Today in studio, we have Stephen with Golden Moon Distillery from Golden, Colorado.
Hey everybody, I'm Steve Gold.
Steve, how Steve ended up here today, I don't know if he knows this, but I met an employee of his, Lexi, on Instagram. She won a contest giveaway that I had, and we became friends, and then she started working for you. So I've been following you, and I said, well, let's get you guys down here and try your product at 9 in the morning.
Wonderful, thanks for having us.
Give us a little history of Golden Moon Distillery.
So I started distilling about 30 years ago. Done a variety of products for a variety of different people. We founded this company in 2008.
Okay.
Today we make 20 different products, family of whiskeys, liqueurs, gins, absinthes, and brandies. Our single malts, one of which we're going to be drinking today, are all Colorado malted grain to glass. So the grain is actually grown in Colorado, Idaho, and Wyoming.
Wow.
We do all our brandies are Colorado fruit to glass. Our liquors and liqueurs are built off of a neutral spirit, and we use a lot of botanicals that we source in Colorado, but we source botanicals all over the world for those. We really want the highest quality material we can get. And so in some cases that means that we grow our own botanicals at Fruition Farms, Alex Seidel's farm.
Love
down
Alex.
in Larkspur.
Yeah.
In some cases I'm working with growers in France and Switzerland. In some cases I'm importing material from Morocco and from the Far East. So it's really finding the best ingredients we can to make amazing whiskeys, brandies, and liqueurs.
And where can people get your products?
So we're available in 17 states around the United States.
Wow.
We're available in 4 countries in Europe. We're available in Taiwan.
Jeez.
Trade war and COVID has put a little bit of crimp on that, but we're still shipping. I just shipped another.
In Colorado, and most liquor stores you can find this?
Most liquor stores you can find this. We're distributed by Republic National, so second largest distributor in the state.
Sure.
Heavy penetration in bars and restaurants as well, but any liquor store can order it.
You can go to most restaurants and ask for a Golden Moon. They know what it is?
Most will know what it is.
Okay,
and if they don't, say, hey, Republic has it, it's great, please order it, I mean.
And then you're located in Golden.
We're located in Golden. We have a large production facility, a 10,000 square foot production facility.
And people can actually, you have a tasting room, right?
We have a tasting room. You can come into the distillery and buy bottles. We will be open again soon when the state lets us for tours as well.
Okay.
And then in downtown Golden, we have a small speakeasy called Golden Moon Speakeasy. 60 cocktails on the menu.
That's not connected to the distillery? It's separate?
It's separate, but
Okay.
it's our tasting room.
Sure.
But we were named the top classic cocktail bar in Denver 2 years ago by Westward.
Okay.
So really amazing cocktail program, great staff. Every drop of alcohol we use in that cocktail program is made by us.
Okay.
So I don't think any other high-end cocktail bar in the world that has a large cocktail program like ours can make that claim.
So you're calling it a speakeasy? Does that mean like it has a secret entrance?
It's sort of, it used to have more of a secret entrance, but we've had to close that down because it walked by some apartments because of COVID.
Uh-huh.
But it is in an alley, it's pretty discreet. The state has let us move into the alley for outdoor tables, so it's not as speakeasy-ish as it once was.
Okay.
We have tables in the alley that are appropriately spaced. We do have seating inside currently. We have put plexiglass partitions between the various tables. Everything is appropriately spaced. There's hand sanitizer on every table. Every space is wiped down by our staff between seatings. And we actually have air purifiers that sanitize the air in the space. So we are arguably one of the safest places for you to come and drink and enjoy a cocktail in Colorado today. We greatly exceed CDC and state requirements, and it's a great place to have a drink.
Speaking of cocktails, I think you're going to make me a cocktail today. What
I'm
are you
going to
make
make you a cocktail. So today we're going to do a Colorado single malt Rob Roy.
Okay.
Now the Rob Roy is an old cocktail. It's often referred to by bartenders as a Scotch whiskey Manhattan, because it's essentially the same cocktail as a Manhattan, but it's made with Scotch instead of a bourbon or a rye. Now Scotch and other single malts, Irish single malts, American single malts, have a different and lighter character than multi-grain American whiskeys like bourbon or rye. So it's got a different character even though it's really the same recipe. So what we're going to do is a classic 2, 1, and a couple of dashes recipe that we'd use for a Manhattan. So it's 2 parts of your single malt. Today we're using our award-winning Principium. Principium is Latin for the beginning. This is the first single malt we produced in our new still house. Second single malt we released. So we always start when we make a cocktail with our vermouth. Now today we're pouring Coquetrino vermouth. Roberto Bava owns this company. They've been making wine in Cocinato for 400 years. It's a great product. You can buy it at any of your local liquor stores or high-end bars. Love this product. So we're going to start with 1 ounce of vermouth. You always start with your vermouth.
I did not know that.
You always start with your vermouth because your vermouth is less expensive than your base spirit. If you screw up the cocktail at the start, you throw out the vermouth, you don't waste your base spirit.
Good to know. Not
Next,
that I would throw it out anyway. I'd still drink it even if I screwed it up.
next we're going to do 2 ounces of whiskey.
Uh-huh. That's quite a jigger you got there too.
Thank you.
You don't see that every day. Classic.
And today we're going to use a classic bitters called Angostura, probably the most classic bitters there is. There's a ton of bitters you can use out there in your cocktails, but remember, when you change the bitter, you change the cocktail. When you change the vermouth, you change the cocktail. When you change the whiskey, you change the cocktail.
That's the one you see really on every bar. But lately, people are making their own bitters. Which is
People make their own bitters.
crazy.
There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bitters.
Yeah.
People always come to me and say, why aren't you making bitters? I make about a dozen bitters recipes that we integrate into our cocktail program. I don't want to sell them because there's too much competition. That's not the business I want to be
Yeah.
in. I want to make whiskey. And that's what I do.
Bitters is expensive. That little bottle there, it's
Oh.
$10.
Yeah. So typically when you look at a cocktail book, your recipe is going to call for 2 dashes of Angostura in your Manhattan or your Rob Roy. I like a little more bitters, so I'm going to put 4 in. Just adds a little bit of dimension. Then we're going to give it a nice stir.
He even has a cool spoon. You don't see a golden spoon too often.
So I started working in restaurants and bars when I was 13. By the time I was 19, I was bartending, lying about my age. And so I bartended in what a lot of bartenders call the dark ages of the 1980s, when people made some really crappy cocktails.
Sex on the beach.
Kamikazes. So I won my first cocktail competition was the Midori National Competition, and I won it with a cocktail called the Radioactive Kamikaze.
Oh God!
And literally, it was nothing but a twist on a kamikaze, but I used fresh lime juice, and I honestly believe that I won the competition solely because I used real juice. It was the 80s. It was easier in those days.
You wouldn't drink that today.
I would not. So normally I'd serve this in a coupe, but I walked out and stupidly left the coupe sitting on my home bar. So we're going to use a rocks glass, and we're just going to start by putting a proper cherry.
And even these are not maraschinos. This is
So these are actually technically, these are real maraschinos,
so not
as
the fake
opposed to the
ones.
fake ones.
Yeah.
And that's a really good point. When you're making a cocktail, you want to use a proper cherry. Those bright red things
Nasty.
you get in the jar at the grocery store, those things literally have nothing left but the collagen from the original fruit. All the flavor is gone and everything else is artificial. This is a real quality Marasca cherry, which is what is used in maraschino.
Not the little fake dye.
Right, so there's no fake dye in this. This cherry is, just changing the cherry is going to give you a better cocktail. So now we've got the cherry in our glass, and we're just going to take and we're going to strain our cocktail right on top of the cherry. Now,
Good night now.
Now, the Rob Roy or the Manhattan can be garnished with a cherry. It can be garnished with a hunk of orange zest. It can be garnished with both if you like. It's really up to you as the person making the drink. But I prefer for this one the cherry. It gives a little bit of sweetness and a little bit more dimension. If I were to change the bitters to an orange bitters, I'd go with a piece of orange zest or citrus bitters, and it'd be a different cocktail again. So here you go.
Cheers, Stephen. Give me your website.
Okay, you can find us on the internet at goldenmoondistillery.com. You can find the speakeasy at goldenmoonspeak.com. We also have our YouTube series, The Distiller's Basement. That's Distiller''S Basement on YouTube. And you can link to that from our websites as well.
Great. Stephen, thank you so much for coming in. We'll see you today at 11:30 for Mason's Dumplings on What's for Lunch. Let's drink.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Holy shit. That's really freaking good.